Welcome back to the Lift for Life podcast. And I'm still getting used to you not jumping. Because
not
you
jumping.
don't
I've
have the
got no
headphones
headphones on, so it's not like it's a bang in my ears anymore.
But G-Dog, how are you this evening?
I'm great. But I've just realised that we've now done a couple of episodes since you came back from Greece, and we've not actually talked on the podcast about your trip to Greece, which was, I think, not organised by you, but was organised by Izzy. So this is a big thing in the life of Angus, because delegating organisation to someone else is a big sort of psychological break.
It was quite scary initially, but I managed to battle through as I was taken to a lovely boutique wellness retreat in Greece. And
juicing.
No juicing. That was key. But I have to say, every single hotel out there could take note from the gym setup at F Zine Hotel Kefalonia. Now, not only was it the coolest gym, as people will have seen on Instagram, in terms of you had all these different levels. So it was very like one of those kind of Bali-esque gyms that are in the wilderness. But it was very cleverly done in levels. So you had the top level, which was weights, machine section. Then you went down to the right, which was Pilates section. Down to the left was cardio section. Down to the right was high rock section.
A high rock section?
Yeah, and then down to the front left was a yoga studio, and you could do aerial yoga as well, which you'd have loved.
Oh, like the one in the four-poster bed we talked about?
Yeah, actually harder than that.
Really?
But even cooler, additionally to that, you could walk all the way down to the beach, and they had a full-on High Rocks beach setup as well.
What?
It was honestly the coolest setup. Through the app they had on your phone, you could book classes as well. So they had 7, 8, 9, 15, and then in the evenings they had 5, 6, and 7 classes. So you do your own thing in the day, and you book it all through the app. So they had sea kayaking.
So you can do like kettlebell lunges on the beach?
Yeah. So literally there was a 8 a.m. High Rocks class that I did, which was just incredible. And then you just did it with people.
What about wall ball?
Yeah, so they had a wall ball thing. So they had a proper High Rocks rig down just before the beach. They had a sand setup. It was honestly phenomenal. So you end up...
Did you know about this before you went there?
Not really in terms of the classes. I just had a look online, but they had all these classes. It was.
But did you know they had a High Rock setup on the beach?
No, I didn't know that. Oh, so I kind of rocked up and was obviously astonished by that. But what they'd done so cleverly as well. So obviously, what I loved was the fact that, yes, it was a very wellness orientated, but it was very 80-20 rule, great food, great vibe. There was none of like a spa menu or anything like that. So they'd nailed that. But what they'd done so cleverly is to get anywhere in the hotel, you had to walk through the gym. So it naturally just encouraged you to go. So every day we were training twice a day. So we'd do our session in the morning, then do like zone 2 in the evening. Even I did a yoga class as well. So it was so cleverly set up. It's adults only, but if you are looking for a long weekend away and just want to reset but actually do it in very much our 80-20 way, it was phenomenal.
That's great for motivation. So if you're forced to go through the gym before you go to dinner,
between the two restaurants, so there's two restaurants,
then it just psychologically makes you think going to the gym's normal.
Exactly. And also the setting of it. So there were obviously early evening before dinner. A lot of the time you might think, oh, do I want to go and do a bit of zone 2? Like, you do kind of question it. I've already trained in the morning. I've already been active throughout the day. But because the view is obviously of the ocean, you're basically in an outdoor gym setup and you're in this amazing gym, you're just like, actually, of course I want to go. So it actually really reiterated the importance to me of training environment as well. So even in London, it made me understand even more why people invest in more expensive gyms like your Third Spaces, because of the appeal of training there. And I know that seems obvious, but even for me, who obviously has trained at really nice gyms, I still do train at David Lloyd, which is a really nice gym in Fulham. It did make me go, actually, like, training environment is really, really important for people. And of course, alongside that, working with someone who can support you. And no wonder people quickly lose motivation at someone like Pure Gym if they're going at 6 p.m. on a Monday and they can barely pick up a weight.
Yeah, and also the training environment is not just the physical environment, it's the people that are there. So if you're going to a gym where you've got a community of people you know, then that obviously makes a big difference. So if you've got a combination of a community of people you know and an amazing physical gym with, as you said, a great view or something like that, then it's truly phenomenal.
But you had a similar weekend, the same weekend.
I did not have a similar weekend.
So you aren't obviously overly enthusiastic about the North, even though I've given you some most incredible northern weekends.
Well, as you know, as you were lying on your Greek beach, I was on the train.
I get this angry message.
Arriving in
Train's
Manchester.
been cancelled.
Well, yeah, that was one thing. But then
This
also,
is why I never go north. I was like, we've just
I
had a tube strike in London.
I took a photograph from the window of the train of Manchester Piccadilly station because I had to get a different train because the Preston train was cancelled. And it was just like pouring with rain as I arrived. And so I just messaged Angus with this photo and said, arrived in the north.
Not enthusiastic.
I got
whatsoever.
no sympathy whatsoever.
No.
But on that point, this podcast is all about training in the winter. So totally relates to that arrival in the north.
What, because in the north they have winter and we just don't have winter down here? Is that how it works, G-Dog? Now, this is a topic that actually hasn't been inspired by clients. It hasn't been inspired by any of you guys who are regular listeners. But I have heard the phrase multiple times so far that it's getting dark, it's getting cold, I can't motivate myself to go to the gym. Now, we do usually use the W word for those people who say those comments, which I won't actually say right now because I want to encourage everyone to go to the gym. But, Gino, what are your thoughts on people who have that mentality?
Well, it just shows that they don't have discipline. So that's very disappointing. But I think one way of framing this is to think about your immune system. So I've been obviously reading lots of studies, and I knew about this anyway because we've discussed this in previous episodes, but being strong boosts your immune system. It's a fact. I hardly ever get ill. In fact, I can't remember the last time I was ill. Obviously, I've got my blood clots, but that's not exactly illness. And I can't remember the last time you were ill. Oh, you've been a bit sniffly, but it hasn't stopped you from doing anything. Whereas we all know people who literally just seem to give up with life if they're ill and just lie on the sofa and watch Netflix. And so if you train regularly, you're less likely to get ill. There was a study I found in 2021 which gave a specific number that resistance training improves your immune markers and lowers your inflammatory, I always get confused how you pronounce it, cytokines. And it means that in the study they showed that people who train twice a week, this is at least twice a week, just twice a week, you get a 15% increase in your immune response. And that was one of the studies. The two other studies all gave the similar sort of conclusion. So there is factual evidence that if you are training during the winter, specifically resistance training, you're actually less likely to get ill. So if you think about that, then, okay, a lot of people will take a flu jab. Well, why don't you just do a bit of weight training? Just twice a week. That's all it takes. 15% increase in your immunity. I think it's definitely worthwhile.
And I think people in this time of year start to just find the excuses they can to almost justify their lack of action, particularly as we go into silly season. Obviously, as we get to December, people go, oh, life socially just gets so busy. So what? You'll feel so much better socially if you have a training program in place. But that's the big thing that stands out for me. All the people I hear saying, oh, I can't motivate myself, I really struggle when it's getting dark and cold, they don't follow a progressive, structured, tailored program that are progressing all year round. The great thing about the winter months, unless you're looking for some winter sun, is actually your top's going to be on more, right? So you actually have an opportunity to put on some muscle mass and you can be in a calorie surplus. So you can actually use the fuel really well to put on muscle mass. And I often find through the Christmas period, will be the time where I definitely gain a little bit of body fat, but I actually gain the most muscle mass because I'm using the fuel from the food to fuel my sessions. So that is something I would say. And something I really want to highlight is stop making everything so seasonal. Like, why is your training routine for a season? Like, I cannot stand this saying winter arc. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to say, yeah, it's winter arc, we need to lock in more. Like, just 365 consistent. That's all you need to be. And it doesn't have to be perfect in those 365. But if you constantly pick times where you just lock in more, why don't you find that 80-20 approach that you can sustain?
I've never heard of that term, winter arc. It must be a generational thing.
I was literally about to say that. It actually is, though, because it is a TikTok thing, and G-Dog's obviously not on TikTok. I think you'd be really big on TikTok, so we've got him, haven't we, guys? Hook, line, and sinker. Cheers. Carry on.
But also, one of the most obvious things, I mean, of course, everyone knows I'm going to say calendarize your workouts is an obvious way to treat your workouts like a meeting, etc., build a habit, build a system, don't focus on motivation, make your training non-negotiable, all those obvious things that we all talk about. But specifically when it comes to winter, I think also the other thing is preparing the night before. So every single night, as part of my routine, just as cleaning my teeth is, I put my gym stuff in my bag. So I take the stuff out that was in the day before. I replace my socks, my vest, my trainers, and my shorts, and I put them in my massive, ridiculously large Hyrox bag. And it's ready the next day. So I don't even need to think about it. I just pick up my bag and go to the office, and all my gym stuff is automatically in there. It's already got my water bottle in there. It's already got my headphones in there. I don't need to think about that. But every night, I just do a cycle and take some stuff out, put new stuff back in again. And then you can't sort of say I've left my stuff at home or it's a hassle packing it because I've got up too late in the morning. Just having routines to make the gym easier is such a good idea.
I think also something else I would add is you've got to use that I'm not feeling motivated and flip it on its head and go, okay, if there are loads of other people saying this, it means I'm going to be putting in the work when they're not. So almost become obsessed with putting in the work when other people aren't. My favorite workout of the year, Christmas Day. I will always go on and run, or if I can lift weights, but obviously the gym's usually shut. But often a Christmas Day run is a perfect thing to do because you just know how many people aren't doing it, and it sets you up so nicely for the day. So when the gym is a bit quieter because silly season kicks in and it's colder outside, and some people do use that as an excuse, you use that as your time to go, do you know what? I'm better than other people and I'm going to push myself further. But also, guys, you're going into a warm gym. Like, do you know what I mean? The gym environment doesn't change. The one thing that I will sympathise with, obviously, in London is the safety element. And there is times if you have a long walk to the gym, so you might have to change up your training approach if that safety is a thing that you're concerned about. Obviously, walking around when it's dark, I totally respect that. But that's when you go, okay, I need to adapt my training program. So you might go, right, I'm currently on a 5-day split. I can only get there at a reasonable time 3 days a week. So what I'm going to do is 3-day split, and then I'm going to do a couple of classes alongside that. So you can use it as quite a good opportunity also to change up your training routine if that's something you're bothered about.
That point on the Christmas Day training, which you obviously first told me 7 years ago, I guess.
I think you laughed at me first
yeah,
as well.
It sounds simplistic, but I did it that first time, and I totally got it then. And I every year at Christmas, we obviously do the same thing, and we sort of WhatsApp each other and said, I'm up, I'm doing it, whatever. And it's a great sort of collegiate feeling that we do, and I do it with a few other people as well. And I really agree. It really stuck in my mind, this idea that you're training when no one else is. It's just a real feather in your own cap. It just makes you feel quite good. But on your point on the warm gym thing, I think habit stacking here can be quite useful. So if you associate going to the gym with then going for a sauna afterwards, that can be quite a good thing. And so particularly in the summer, going to the sauna can seem quite ridiculous sometimes if it's 40 degrees outside and you're going to a sauna. But in the winter, I think it's quite nice, the idea of finishing your gym session and then going to the sauna afterwards. And so I think habit stacking in your mind, I'm actually going to the sauna tonight, I'll just do a bit of gym beforehand. And so the other point on that is you don't need to always go to the gym for an hour. Just doing something is better than doing nothing.
I would also add not every gym has a sauna, G-Dog, so there is that.
That's the problem with my office gym. My office gym's got a steam room, not a sauna.
Oh,
I keep trying to persuade them.
Interesting enough, I think I prefer a steam room. You're not a fan.
I'm not a fan.
You do like to. I was almost baffled at how incredible you were at the Cornwall sauna. You were able to be in there for the whole 40 minutes, and we had to keep going in and out of the shower. I was like, G-Dog, you all right? Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. I'm not sure that was a rattler rubbing off on you, but you seem to... you are a seasoned pro.
That Cornwall sauna was particularly good as well because it had a window. So that was a great sauna because you could sit in the sauna and look at the sea, which is a phenomenal idea.
So basically, everyone go to sauna on the sea. It'd be much easier for motivation, wouldn't it? But obviously, one thing I'd like to ask you, Gino, is perfect time to ask you, is you don't seem to make the most of the cold water plunge element you have at your gym. Is there a reason for this?
Yeah, I've not done it. So there's 2 cold water plunges. I'm not sure would there be? Yeah, I think one of them is 8 degrees and the other one is 4 degrees.
Wow.
It's quite cold.
Yeah, but do you not think I'll reap the rewards of this and get the dopamine buzz? And surely from the sauna, right, which you get roasting hot, jumping in the 8 degree.
I have a cold shower, so
why won't you go in the cold water?
I'm just a wetter.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to use this podcast. It's on camera as well now, so you can't hide. We want video evidence of you getting in post sauna in the 8 degree one, please. Can you agree?
It just feels a bit rank. Doing it in the sea in Cornwall with the waves and it's fresh, etc. Just going into, I mean, the ones.
Yeah, but it's a filtered water system.
You're
sat in people's sweat in the sauna.
In my gym in Fulham, it's basically 2 black plastic barrels in effect. It's sort of
but you've just trained in a gym and then you're just sitting in a sweaty sauna and then you're picking up everyone's towels and putting them away as well. Like, you can't use that as an excuse that you are a wetter. That's all it is, G-Dog.
It's completely different. When I'm in the sauna, I tend to have maybe 3 to 4 cold showers, sort of basically every sort of 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm having the cold showers anyway.
You're my hero. Is there anything else you would add into there, G-Dog, to keep people motivated through the winter months?
But I think to also think about going to the gym as something other than the aesthetic value of going to the gym and getting jacked. To think about the gym as being a moment of mental clarity and mental health. I mean, I think of that every day. Whenever I go to the gym, it's a stress release. It's my opportunity to, most of the time I end up listening to music. It's a real sort of moment for me that I can just be in the gym listening to music, which gets me in the zone. It's a distraction from the day at work. It's a good way to end the day of work. And it just sort of, a lot of people will say that they're in the office, then they are on the train home from work, they're driving home from work, and that's their sort of decompression time before they get home and all of the sort of conversations they have with the family at home. But I think you can accelerate that decompression by having time on your own in the gym lifting weights. I think it's a much more powerful mental decompression, particularly in the winter when maybe you're suffering from seasonal affective disorder. So you've got a combination of you've been in the office all day, you're exhausted, you're feeling mentally drained, and then you go out and it's all dark, so you're feeling seasonally disordered because of the darkness. And then you're on a crowded tube train or you're stuck in traffic, and then you get home to your husband or your wife and your kids, and you're just a horrible person because everything, that whole sequence, it's not like leaving the office in the summer, bright evening sunlight and everything's great, right? You're just in a pretty bad environment. And so if you can sort of reboot yourself after the day at the office by going to the gym and lifting some weights, I think could actually make your family life much better in the evening.
Bang on. And just to reiterate the message of people who are training all year round, 365 days a year, seeing results the whole time, are all doing the same thing, and that's having a program in place that is tailored to them, that's structured, and they know exactly what to do in terms of, so the session itself, if they've had a big night the night before, they might dial in a session, then they might go harder in the next session, so they're able to navigate exactly what to do to keep seeing results. Not every session needs to be 100%, and I think people have that all or nothing mentality, and that definitely affects them through the winter months. But if you just think, okay, every session I know I'm doing the right thing for my goals, and if you keep rinsing and repeating that, you'll only become more confident and only get better and better results. So just make sure you have something in place that you can follow.
Yeah, completely agree.
Anything else you'd like to add there, G-Dog?
No, I'm done.
I thought it was another fantastic episode.
Very
you did really
educational.
Well. Did really well. Well done.
Thank you very much.
We've still got to convince you on the north, though, haven't we?
That's not going to happen.
And I can't. And I can't wait to see the video evidence of the cold water therapy.
We can do it somewhere else, but definitely not going to happen in my gym. It'll be a cold water therapy in some sort of.
No, well, I'm going to make. I'm just going to throw you into it. It's fine. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Live for Life podcast live. Can't believe we are officially live, but I'll stop saying that now. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.